Right, to start, I just want to say thank you for having me on. As a collaborative community effort, it's nice to be able to present our proposal for developing smart markets on Cardano. This proposal and the team of 6 behind it was bootstrapped through activities surrounding the current Catalyst Fund. The idea of a smart market itself has been around for quite a while. You may use one or more computer-assisted markets every day. The essential idea is to use algorithms to find optimal matches of market resources, especially when they have unique properties, making it difficult to compare items. The Cardano architecture is well suited to this. We could not do the proposed design on Bitcoin or Ethereum, for example. Right. The Fund 2 challenge is how can we encourage developers and entrepreneurs to build dApps and businesses on top of Cardano in the next 6 months. We have interpreted the challenge statement to mean we should not be proposing a dApp or a startup. Rather, we need to figure out how to attract developers and entrepreneurs. Since we are both ourselves, we asked, well, if we're interested in exploring novel solutions to complex economic challenges, what would make us pay attention? Given the competitive funding constraints, tight timeframe, and existing efforts, what would fit into the mix of the whole Cardano community? What is clear, and this has been true from a lot of my experience, there is a limited knowledge on how to use Cardano to the fullest, especially the extended UTX model and native custom tokens. Our solution to that problem takes the shape of a T. We're going to go broad on 5 key topics that contribute to the applied problem. Engineering a smart market protocol for fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, sorry. We're diving deep on a very specific application of the protocol, applying a smart market design to the exchange of unique trading cards, using emergent token engineering practices to design and implement prototypes of the necessary smart contracts. The development will be done in public, and all content and code will be made freely available under Creative Commons and open source licenses. The deliverables have been designed to let entrepreneurs, learners, software developers, and software engineers to use the resulting information in a way that suits their learning style, addressing the previous challenge stated. The essential idea of a smart market is to find matches of market resources, especially for unique items or complex combinations of them. At the heart of a smart market are batched auctions. You'll be familiar with the English auction used by eBay, the Vickery auction behind Google AdWords, and the order book when trading cryptocurrencies as a continuous double Dutch auction. Continuous auctions have some serious problems that enable sophisticated traders to strip mine retail investors. They only work with simple pairs with sufficient liquidity. They are not suited for matching unique items in complex interrelated exchanges. Smart markets are a way to solve complex resource allocation problems in a fair and efficient manner. There are many domains where smart markets are used. A transport and labor market such as Uber uses auction mechanisms to efficiently allocate drivers to rides, for example. But these are centralized approaches. Using an Oracle pool architecture to integrate the algorithms off-chain, we can keep them honest and redistribute the value more equitably. This presents new revenue opportunities for stake pool operators and makes the network more robust. Smart markets are particularly well suited to multilateral trades, where resources being traded are differentiated by their properties. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, representing items such as trading card assets, are an example of this. Dark Country sell game assets on Ethereum, EOS, and Wax, and we have initiated a collaboration with them to use their cards as a demonstration of Cardano's custom token features. Using these NFTs, a smart market can enable players to trade cards directly without going through some intermediary unit of account. Custom tokens can be created for any bundle of rights, traded with ease irrespective of the number of issued tokens or exchange market depth. Our intention is to construct a toolkit of material that complements the training from Cardano Foundation, IOG, and Emergo, broadly covering topics that highlight the unique features of Cardano with understandable language and real-world application. And that's a key point, real-world application. NFTs, smart markets, and Oracle pools combined. Yet allow the engineer to go deep when desired, exploring the token engineering work and protocol implementation. But we also want to inspire. So, for example, Charles Hoskins has discussed the problem of distributing fertilizer in Ethiopia. How can you make sure a ton of fertilizer landed in Djibouti is efficiently distributed to farmers? A smart market can routinely allocate distribution throughout a supply chain network based on historical behavior, such as the 1 ton of fertilizer in Djibouti is 1 ton applied to the land. This is the essence of economic identity, rewarding honest behavior and building reputation directly into the transport network to improve efficiency. So by inspiring developers and entrepreneurs, our toolkit will demonstrate and reinforce the internal economic logic of the Cardano network, creating and returning a return to the community. Now, fundamentally, the real competition within the respect of the challenge is that we're attempting to address in this proposal is getting the attention and getting it and retaining it of developers and of entrepreneurs. Blockchains are basically a commodity. I have a literal menu of options, so why would I choose one blockchain over another? Cardano is positioned as a 3rd generation blockchain, so we need to help explain that, help define it to compare and contrast. In the sense that Bitcoin is the store of value, the digital gold. Ethereum is the world computer for DeFi, lending rails for the digital credit card, so to speak. Cardano is a financial operating system, building a decentralized digital market for economic identity. To encourage developers and entrepreneurs to build dApps and businesses on Cardano, we need to really highlight those strategic position. And our proposal is testing the thesis, demonstrating it, and calling attention to the benefits of decentralization on Cardano. To do this, we're asking for half the fund. For what amounts to basically learning prototypes, education content, and an outreach. The activities are typical for any open project that wants community buy-in. There are 6, actually probably 7 people that will be working on this project. We've budgeted for 2.5 full-time employees over 6 months. The deliverables are modular, so funding can be tied directly to concrete outputs. All ideas, codes, design, documentation, and educational content will be open. The proposal could be broken down into smaller units, but it's more efficient as one, balancing effort, commitment, and lost opportunity across the 6 or 7 team members. The funding will be allocated to deliverables outlined in the roadmap, and specific team members will then be compensated based on their contributions. The team itself, it came out of a Telegram discussion during the first week of the Catalyst Fund, and has been proposed by myself and Nick Hyams. It balances our skills, interest, and learning objectives. I'm a distributed systems engineer with a background in functional programming in Erlang and OCaml. Nick is a stake pool operator, teacher in chemistry, and all-around community wrangler. And I would not be doing this without him because of that. Andrew and I have worked together for several years in London. Andrew is also a distributed systems engineer with a background in Java and the functional version of it called Scala. Joanna has a background in visual arts, a photographer. He is currently learning to code blockchains through the Emergo Academy. Jack is my son. He's just completed his degree in commercial music. In the last few months, he's been learning Cardano and everything surrounding it, making videos about it on his Metaphor channel. David is an actor and stunt performer appearing in Hollywood films. He's an avid historian and great talent, and he's making our content relatable, which, given the subject matter, is no easy task. And a UX designer will be joining the team. So using a trading
30 seconds left.
Yep.
30 seconds.
Use case throughout a material. There's 3 streams of activity. Community engagement. Half of the project is directed at protocol engineering. This is associated with the NFTs, auction protocols, and Oracle pools. There'll be some UX exploration. Keeping in mind that this is only prototype work. As a result, it's not dependent on Plutus being released to the mainnet. And we'll be releasing material every 4 or 5 weeks to help broad understanding of Cardano advanced features. All notebooks, codes, documentation will be maintained at GitHub where applicable. And this takes the approach that the best way to learn is to teach others.
Yeah. All right, and that's time. Are you good?
Yep,
All
I'm
right.
good.
Okay, you can bring the screen share down.
Yep,
Reset the clock.
and
And
if I can find it,
yeah, just top center.
yep.
All right, you got it. Nice. All right, great. Thank you, Robert. That was fantastic. And I would like to just let viewers know that I kind of made a mistake earlier. The links are down below in the description for each of the proposals. If you want to go to those links, you can review the proposals while they describe it. Please feel free to create an account on Project Catalyst. Leave them some kudos on Project Catalyst. And leave the feedback on Project Catalyst. That would be the most beneficial thing you can do for the people appearing on the Gauntlet today. All right, so thank you for that. And so we'll roll over to the questions. Who would like to go first? Boone, Philippe, Umed, what questions you got?
So, great presentation. I'm a little bit confused as to the product that you're actually providing. Is it just an educational based product based on NFTs and what the capabilities that are coming to Cardano, or are you creating a unique token? What exactly? I'm just trying to figure out what exactly is the deliverable.
The primary deliverables are educational content of basically including all of those components. So the custom tokens, the use of them as NFTs, the extended UTXO model, applying that to a real problem, which is the smart market stuff, and then using that the Oracle pool architecture. So it's combining all of them together to show how all the architecture works together.
Okay, but if someone were to create a product or create an NFT on Cardano, basically what you're saying, you're providing that base for them to utilize whatever research or whatever code that you provide in order to create that in the future.
Not so much NFTs because they're going to be pretty straightforward on Cardano. Custom tokens are basically designed in. You can do that really easily. The real essence of this is using protocol engineering and designing the actual smart auction protocols and hooking them into a Oracle pool and making them work.
Okay.
So you're talking more like the marketplace and contracts for selling the NFTs. Is that what you're saying?
So basically someone can come along and say, hey, I've got this market opportunity, which is a matching problem, is what is known in the game theory side of things, or market design. And I want to know how to do this on Cardano. How can I go about doing it? Right, here's the smart market designs. I can take those. I can then go to market with those and start focusing on my specific problem that we're going into. Because basically, there are a lot of different, there's far more matching markets than there are your, say, continuous double Dutch auctions. These things can be applied to all sorts of different domains. So we want to basically inspire people to understand that, show how it can be implemented on Cardano, and then basically take what we've done, the research and the educational material, and then go and use it to actually develop their own products. As I said, we're not trying to be our own business or our own startup or a DApp. We're basically trying to figure out how to show the Cardano architecture in the best light possible.
Okay, so when you started talking about the markets and types of matching that solves the multidimensional problem of let's say the tokens, I immediately thought about applying it to pool tool. Let's say that we have lots of pools with different sort of features, and that presents a matching problem, right? And let's say if every pool were to create Cardano blockchain as an NFT, then your protocol will be able to help the delegators to, depending on their preferences on different dimensionalities, to pick the pool of their preference and delegate to it. So is that a fair assessment of the capability?
That's bang on correct. Yes.
So and I can see the application of that in pool tool. But my question is, well, first of all, as a finance guy, I noticed that you're asking for half the fund. It reduces your chance of getting the funds the way that the system works. So my question to you is that I like the project, but is it possible to modularize it so that and you addressed it a little bit in your presentation, but I thought there's two solutions to that. One is that if you break it down into smaller portions where we can see the progress, then that could be more digestible, or you could just wait until the fund gets bigger.
We can do both, yeah. So it was always a trade-off. And so we've designed the deliverables to try and be as transparent as possible and to show progress in terms of what's going on. There's also a bit of context behind here. Obviously, I'm a software engineer and Andrew's a software engineer, but the others aren't. But they're really, really keen to actually try and understand. So the mere fact that this came together, they're actually trying to learn how to use Cardano effectively. And what is going on here. So in a sense, we're kind of eating our dog food to help produce the material and learn and to reach out into other people. And so part of the rationale for putting in such a big ask here was really, well, to get that consistency of learning, to really get the consistency of results, to apply it across the board, we're focusing very much on challenge two's problem, right? That is, how do we attract developers and entrepreneurs? We are not trying to be entrepreneurs or DApp developers ourselves. So the next fund, Fund 3, may have a completely different challenge, and we would adapt to that, whatever was needed there. It may not suit a smart market proposal that uses NFTs.
And that's time.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Umed and Boone. I very much appreciate it. That was time. For the viewers, please start posting your comments in chat. We have a lot of questions, so post your questions in chat. We have a lot of questions there. Let's go to that. I'm going to reset the clock, and then we will have 5 minutes for chat. So we'll do in a nutshell answers. Philippe, did you see any there that are ready to go?
Yes. Joseph Engel Major says, can you expand slightly on what key differentiators between Cardano and others you could show by implementing these NFTs?
So it's not so much NFTs. The thing here is we've got custom tokens in Cardano already. So that's one really big feature. It's really easy to do them, all right? So that's what the multi-asset support is. So we can show that it's really easy. The other aspects are more to do with the auction protocols. The whole Ouroboros sort of clock, the logical clock that it's got on, is really important to smart contracts. We need some notion of time. You've got the UTXO model itself is a completely different approach than, say, the account-based model. And I could rattle on more if you want to, but that's just some of them.
Okay. We have another question from Alessandro Conrad. Will this project also try to build a standard NFT smart contract like the ERC 721 contracts on Ethereum?
There's absolutely no need to do that because that's what the multi-asset support is. And in fact, this is where this project started from because Nick and a few others were actually chatting on Telegram saying, let's look at ERC 20 and ERC 721. And I said, hey, you don't need to do that. And they said, why not? And I said, well, go read these papers. And they did. And that said, okay. So I pointed them to the 3 papers covering custom tokens and stuff like that. And the group went off and read them, started discussing them. And I said, okay, well, I'll engage a little bit more because I was showing that they were interested and capable of doing it.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And Robert, my question is Jonah Koch one of your teammates?
Yes.
Okay, because he is in chat helping people answer questions. So if anyone sees answers from Jonah, that is one of the persons on the team. And there's a question from Your Cardano Update, and the person asks, how will you maintain the long-term sustainability? What happens after you have exhausted the funds from Catalyst?
Okay, so this project is very much geared for this 6-month period. We have literally taken the challenge to the letter and said, right, how do we track? It's designed for the 6-month period to work in. Everything is open and released and available. The next fund round, we may say, hey, we've done such great work here. Let's go and do a market. Actually go to market with a smart market. It could be in trading card games. It could be solving the fertilizer problem in Ethiopia. But and our particular interests are in art and music and that sort of domain, so we might do stuff in that area. So we would follow on with what we've got.
Okay. Excellent. Robert, I have a personal question. So one of my concerns is how do you prevent, since the proposal is based in education, how do you how do you prevent your information from being redundant? I mean, IOG and Emergo, they're working on products, and things are changing day by day, week by week, and versions of smart contracts may evolve within the next 3 to 6 months to 9 months, and information may be given out by IOG. So how do you prevent redundancy from the information that you'll be providing versus the information that IOG and Emergo will be providing?
Okay, so some of the video content that we'll produce, etc., is difficult to change, but the rest is relatively straightforward to change. There's another aspect to this, is what we're actually trying to demonstrate is some of the fundamental architectures of Cardano. So they're not going to change radically. You're not going to see Cardano switching out extended UTXO model to do account-based model. Instead, you're building accounts on top of the UTXO model. We're not going to see Ouroboros change radically in terms of removing like the epochs or epochs out of things, which gives us the logical clock. Custom tokens aren't going to be changed radically. What will change is the specifics of a protocol, such as we may find that for a given particular market, there's a special need to tweak the protocols and parameters around it accordingly. Now, that is very, very specific to a market, right? There is, if I was dealing with auctioning airplane slots versus doing food distribution, they are completely different matching problems. But the architecture of what we're doing should actually suffice for all of those. Just the components inside of it may change.
Okay, another question from chat from
30
DC.
seconds.
Are you creating a marketplace or a prototype? This is from DC.
It's a prototype.